had this, when I first heard about the Amazon thing, I had this wonderful vision of hundreds of drones flying over UMass campus and having collisions and falling out of the sky. And it was like a week after I heard about the Amazon thing that the FAA came out with the new rules about drones. But anyways, which kind of disappointing.
That would be pretty hilarious.
That's funny.
During the 2014-2015 winter session, those on the UMass Amherst email lists received word that the campus textbook store would be replaced with an Amazon facility starting the fall 15 term. Though it certainly qualified as a notification, the timing of the email made it decidedly inconspicuous. It seemed to us that most students were unaware that this was even happening.
So, have you heard of UMass's recent partnership with Amazon?
No.
No? So what they're doing is they're getting rid of the textbook annex, and you're going to order all your books through Amazon. They're also going to have a physical location there, and you're going to get free one-day shipping to campus.
Sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah. So do you think that's a good thing for students?
Well, yeah, I always get so stressed out when I go in the textbook annex, because it's always like, I don't know, scary.
So what do you dislike about the textbook annex?
Just like rows and rows and rows of books, and like it's hard to find like what you're looking for, I feel like a lot. And also it's super expensive, so there's like that downside.
How do you think this will affect local bookstores?
Well, I think it depends a lot. I feel like a lot of professors make the book available at local bookstores, so it might not affect them, but if it's easier for kids to like just order it with one-day shipping, I feel like they might lose some business. But
What do you think is the end goal of this deal from Amazon's side?
well, they're probably looking to make more profit, but at the same time, like, I'm sure they also want to help students because they're like the people who they want to hire, so they want to help them. If that makes sense.
Awesome, thank you.
I interviewed several students to learn their thoughts about the deal. When I asked about the textbook annex, most students had a problem with it. I feel it's overpriced and ridiculous, said one student. Another said, I don't like it. Textbooks are wildly overpriced and bought for next to nothing. Of the people I interviewed, the most positive answer I got about the textbook annex was, I think it's all right. None of the students I interviewed knew the details of the Amazon deal. After explaining the basics, most students had good things to say. I think it's a positive overall. I think it will be a net gain for students, said one. Another added, I think it's worth it for lower prices. I asked if students felt if it was appropriate for a public university to make this kind of deal with a private company. In response, one student told me, I just want transparency. That's tough to get from the UMass administration.
Even though most students were unaware of UMass's partnership with Amazon, Amazon has made clear efforts to show their information, especially for aspiring employees for the campus pickup point. We visited an information session for prospective employees at the campus center and learned some of the following information. We learned that the campus pickup point will exist in UMass's campus center, and each student will be given a free Amazon Prime account. This will also include free next-day shipping, not just for books, but also for other products. The way this will work is the student will go online through their personalized shopping cart and order the products. Then, they will be guaranteed next-day delivery as long as they place the order before 9 p.m. Upon the next day, they'll receive a text message of when the product arrives, and also a combination of how to access a locker. They will be indicated which locker to go to, and then they will get all the resources to be in and out of the campus pickup point in under a minute without any personal human contact whatsoever.
When asked the following questions, our Amazon interviewee responded with a brief explanation. Just a quick disclaimer, he is not an official Amazon spokesperson or authorized to speak on behalf of the company. He is just an employee. The following is his own opinion and conjecture and not based on any inside information. This is off the record. Amazon is very willing to invest in the long term, meaning we will do something even if it won't be profitable for many years. Amazon Prime is a huge program, and many research reports suggest that Prime members spend more than double non-Prime members. Amazon has the ability, with our technical experience and relentless focus on customer experience, to really improve the college bookstore experience for students and integrate well with our other services. My guess is that the intent of the Amazon Campus Initiative is less about the actual incremental sales revenue from each college campus, but rather on acquiring the next generation of Amazon customers, Amazon Prime has a bunch of benefits beyond free 2-day shipping, such as free streaming, music, Kindle books, etc. If Amazon Prime is like heroin, I think Amazon Campus and Amazon Student is Amazon's mechanism for giving free doses to college students in hope that they get hooked for life.
After speaking with the Amazon rep, we also spoke with Amherst Books co-owner Nat Harold, who shared his perspective.
So, what percentage of your customers would you say are UMass students?
If including with textbook sales?
Yeah, just overall.
God, I don't have a clue. It's 25%.
What was your relationship with the textbook annex?
The textbook annex was actually run by a bunch of scoundrels.
Oh, really?
And they would send people because, and this is primarily before the this law took effect 5 years ago. I mean, I've been selling books in Amherst, as I said, well, actually since on and off since 1981. So it's about 35 years. So anyway, they did a couple things. They would, if faculty didn't order from them, they would send spies into our bookshop to copy down the books.
Very serious.
Yeah. Another thing they did was, I don't know if you've been around long enough, there was a collected bookstore called Food for Thought.
Yeah, we were here while that was still around. That closed during our time, yeah.
A truck driver was delivering a bunch of boxes to Food for Thought, and he told one of the managers of Food for Thought that he'd gone to the textbook annex first and dropped off some boxes. And while he was at the textbook annex, somebody from the textbook annex climbed, without asking, climbed up into the truck and was writing down all the information they could get on the boxes that were going to be delivered to Food for Thought, because they wanted to know what the books were.
It's espionage. God, what's going on?
7 years ago or so, I assume it was the manager of the textbook annex, sent out an email to faculty pretending to be the parent of a student, saying, my kid is in your class and the teacher hasn't handed out a syllabus, but I know the books, you've ordered the books. Would you send me a copy of the list of books? And it wasn't a parent, it was the manager of the textbook annex sending to each individual faculty member, like in the English department, and asking them for the list of books because the faculty were supporting us and not ordering from Follett. So, as I say, they were scoundrels.
Jeez.
We continue to talk to Nat about how he thinks his business will be affected, and he says his partner,
he thinks that the result is going to be that a lot of faculty will react against it, and so we'll get more textbook orders in the fall than we've actually ever gotten from university faculty.
That's interesting.
Our sell-through may not be great necessarily on all of those orders, but then we'll get more faculty trying to support us. The thing is, in the last, since this federal law passed or went into effect about 5 or 6 years ago, that required all of the course listings to be all the books to be listed online. There have been a lot of faculty who have not put their books online until the beginning of classes and ordered their books from us because they wanted to support us, and they knew that once they put them on Spire that the Follett would get them.
Were those mostly English?
Yeah,
classes?
English, history, not science. One of the things about this federal law, Minnesota passed a law like it maybe 10 years ago, but they distinguished between novels and science texts, and that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, those bloody science publishers have been milking everybody. I mean, it's just it's unethical what they've done, and unfortunately, what they've done in a way, they put everybody else in a leaky boat. They've created the leak in a way, because of course you're going to try to get a cheaper version of a book, and so you're going to go online. But if you're going to go online to get a cheaper biology book, you're going to get your other books at the same time. So Minnesota made that distinction.
Right.
And when the federal law was passed, my understanding is Bush wouldn't sign it the first time. Okay. And then somebody put pressure on him, and he signed it the second time. The federal law doesn't make any distinction between science books and novels.
Okay.
So that's why everything goes online. And so anyway, what I was going to say is, you could call it a kind of civil disobedience with faculty not putting their books up on Spire 2 months early and ordering their books from us. But thumbing your nose at the administration is one thing, but doing the same thing to students. So, if you guys go into your teacher and the teacher says, well, I didn't list them up on Amazon, you have to go into Amherst Books to get them. I can understand some of you are going to be irritated or pissed, right?
I haven't had a problem with it so far.
And that's going to be, but some people.
Some people for sure,
And I don't think faculty are going to get past that. They can thumb their nose at the administration, but students are a different matter.
Yeah,
so
sure.
if they get enough complaints or from students, they'll have to do both. And then it'll be a choice of, if we bother to carry the book, then it'll be a choice of whether you go use your Amazon locker or you come here to the bookstore.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Amazon. It's kind of a there are fewer and fewer places that have their own bookstores.
Yeah.
Either whether it's a Barnes and Noble or an independent, and Amazon's the reason. On the other side, it's wonderful if you don't have a bookstore that you have something like Amazon.
Right.
I'm really about getting books to people.
Yeah,
of
course.
And I hate it to be something that's doing the damage that Amazon's doing. But if you don't have another way of getting books, it's better than nothing.
Nat also provided us with insight on how he sees the deal with Amazon ending up.
So here's a company that's losing money, that's paying UMass the contract is between something like $300,000 and $650,000 or something like that over the next a year, and going up over the next 5 or 6 years. So, and they're discounting books, particularly the expensive ones, where they're selling them for cost, so they're not making any money on them. How do you expect them to survive unless they put everybody out of business and then they raise
the price, corner the market?
So I think it might look like a short-term boon for the university, but even in the midterm, I think it's gonna hurt. And I think it's so I guess that's a mistake, and I think that's foolish for the university.
Ultimately, whether or not this deal is a mistake is yet to be determined. The resounding sentiments among the student body are of good riddance to the textbook annex and of excitement towards Amazon's delivery system of the future. We shared the thoughts of our fellow students, but we still can't help but feel we're giving something up. We leave you with, once again, our friend Nat and what he thinks we're giving up.
I have a friend who wrote a book. He's a gay black guy who's now about 85. And he grew up in New York. And he's written about the problem with a lot of the internet and the web stuff, and the way that this is going is that people don't meet other kinds of people and interact with them anymore.
Yeah.
And so it gets harder and harder to get over some kinds of discrimination or expectations about who or what kind of person somebody is. And I think that this sort of shift to Amazon is part of that trend. He may have. Oh, I don't know. I was going to say, his name's Delaney. And he started out as a science fiction writer.
Oh, cool.
And he wrote a lot of science fiction that you've seen Star Wars movies?
Oh yeah.
Okay. There's in one of the Star Wars movies, I think it might be the second one, there's a bar scene in which all these different kinds of alien species are sitting around a bar drinking all of this stuff. That is like right out of Samuel Delaney's 1960s science fiction books. He was thinking that kind of stuff.
Like way before Lucas.
Way before that, yeah. And most people I know think that probably Lucas was influenced by that.